one of the narratives of this was that like all Trump did was just pay off a porn star that he had an affair with. And so, you know, in a lot of the conversation when he was found guilty was the big deal. Like all he did was pay off some porn star he had an affair with. Like, but I guess from, how do you go from that's all that he did to 34 felonies? Obviously it's more complicated than that. Can you give us what happened that rose it to the point of you got 34 felonies and could possibly be facing jail time?
Absolutely. So what ultimately happened was, and the biggest issue here that I think Democrats were ultimately going at is he tried to undermine the integrity of the election.
Yes.
And that's ultimately what it comes down to, you know, and I hate to say like nobody cares if you paid off a porn star, you know, things happen.
Yes.
However, when you undermine the election of the United States and the presidency of the United States, that becomes a bigger issue than just your personal business that you try to keep out of the public when you're running for president.
Yes. No, that's real. So again, you're in New York. Is he going to jail?
He definitely could go to jail. He faces up to 4 years on each count.
Oh, shit.
However, do I truthfully think that he's going to end up in jail? I do not. There's a lot of sentencing options the judge would have.
But is he going to have like the ankle bracelet on the joint?
You know, in my mind, I'm like, once you're convicted, I mean, why didn't they take him into custody?
You know what? I didn't think about that.
The judge
they didn't
had
put like
the authority.
The cuffs on him and should have walked his ass in the back.
The judge had the authority to take him into custody at that point. The judge did not. So I think his sentencing date is July 11th.
Yes.
Yep. And so what I think could happen is one of a few things, actually. I think he's going to be heavily fined.
Yes.
Also, the sentencing guidelines and sentencing options are up to 4 years in prison, New York State prison. Also probation, which he'd be serving 5 years probation, which would actually hinder, you know, his ability to freely be president.
Yeah.
You got to check in with probation. You got to ask for permission to leave the county. You got a urine screen, drug screen, mental health, all of those sorts of things, which somebody who's going to be the leader of the free world, quote unquote, is going to be pretty difficult for them to have to get through.
Yeah. One of the things that people were saying is that there are several countries that deny entry to felons. Canada being one of them.
I was going to say Canada being one of them.
They said the United Kingdom is one of them. Egypt, Brazil, so that he would have to have special circumstances if he's elected president. Okay, so here's the article. Trump can't travel to these 38 countries now that he's a convicted felon. China's one of them. Israel's one of them. So it is fascinating to see this. The question came up, can Trump vote for himself?
You know, ultimately, when an individual goes to prison, while they're incarcerated, they lose their right to vote.
Yes.
So if he's incarcerated, he will not be able to vote. If he's not incarcerated, then he will be able to vote. So, of course, he's going to vote for himself.
Oh, but it is fascinating to see, because that was one of the things that came up is that, you know, he's able to run for president, but you have so many people that cannot vote once they get a felony, and that this should encourage people to allow somebody that went and served their time. If you got a certain amount of time, you went and served your time and got out, why not allow them to participate in the political process? It'll be interesting to see if some of these Republicans do that.